Good morning. So here's part of my story, because when Jonathan said about doing this, I thought, how can I fit my whole life in 10 minutes? But we'll have a go. There's never been a day in my life when I didn't know about Jesus. I was brought up to go to church. I was sent to Sunday school. And that was all partly because Mum wanted us out of the way, 5 girls in the house, and she was trying to cook Sunday lunch ready for Dad to be at work for 2 o'clock. We needed to be out of her way. That was one reason we were sent to Sunday school. But the other reason was my dad. And, sorry, I'm going to get a bit... But my dad was very special to me. But he died when I was 16. But the fact that I am here is a miracle. Because my dad was in Burma. On the first boat he was put on to go to Burma was torpedoed. He was one of about 6 that survived that. Picked up, put on another ship. On he went again. You're going to Burma. And the story goes, he told my ex-brother-in-law one day that while he was in Burma, he was out on a recce, him and a couple of other guys from his platoon. They were out on a recce, and when they got back to their camp, it had been destroyed. If he'd been there, he wouldn't have been back. I wouldn't be here. None of my sisters would be here. So my dad had a faith. His favourite hymn was "There is a Green Hill." And, he instilled in us as a family love, compassion, and So that's 2 miracles as far as I'm concerned. That I wouldn't have been here without those 2 miracles. It's another miracle when I was born. Within an hour of being born at home now. It was a good year, 1966. Brilliant year, wasn't it? A bit before World Cup I was born, but there we go. But back then, babies were born at home. Within an hour and a half, I was in an ambulance on the way to hospital. I was a blue baby, and I couldn't feed. Nothing was going in at all. And that has been part of my life. I don't know what happened. They can't find my medical records to know. But I'm still here to tell the tale. So something happened. So to me, another miracle. I still have that problem now. And I'll talk a bit about that as well in a minute. But then, as I've already said, my dad died when I was 16. But before all that, I was asked to sing at church. The vicar came round from church, from the parish church. I went to the church school down in Sussex. And he came in every Thursday. It was assembly morning, and we'd sing all the old hymns. And when I was 9, he came round. I want Stella for the choir. So at 9 years old, I sang my first solo in church. So church singing has always been very special to me. And right now, I don't know where that's going. I know God wants me to sing, but I'm not sure where or how it's going to happen. I'm waiting on that. So prayers, please, because, it's something I've got to do. I'm just looking for the way. So then I just started college in 1982. It was the 16th of December when Dad passed. In the January, I'd gone back in. So we're talking about like 3 weeks after losing my father. We had Christmas and New Year in between. And it was my turn in the restaurant. I was at hospitality college, so we had a restaurant there where some of us did the waiting, some of us did the cooking, and classes took it in turns. It was my class's turn in the restaurant that day. I could not face being with people, so I ended up in the pot wash. So I was doing washing all the dishes. I just couldn't face being with people, and I could hide my tears in the washing up water. But there was this young man came out of the kitchen and he looked at me and he said, "Smile, it might never happen." I ended up marrying him. But when he said that, I just ran away. I couldn't cope with it. But he came and found me, and the rest is history. 36 years now we've been married. And, we've had our ups and downs, as all marriages do, but we're still together, and, I wouldn't have that any other way. On the 22nd of March, 1983, was when I actually met Jesus for myself. And that was thanks to Padre at college. They got, made connections for me, because I was struggling. And Padre came along, we had a chat, and, okay, yeah, this is real. I know about this, but now I've met Jesus. This is, wow, this is a whole nother dimension. And yeah, my faith grew, my relationship with God grew, and so on we went. What else can I tell you? Yeah, there's another miracle. On the way back, I used to work in a hotel in Wiltshire. Graham and I did. We worked together. Again, he was in the kitchen, I was front of house. But he was working, and it was my long weekend off. I was going home to do some wedding plans, get some, I think it was a dress measuring or something. Anyway, I was driving back, and it was raining. And as I got to Andover, just driving through, this is before all the M4 and all that, so going along the road, and all of a sudden this car came out in front of me. There was no way I could stop. And it turned out he was an army sergeant coming out of the Andover barracks. The guy behind him was one of his privates, so he was never going to witness against his sergeant. But anyway, my little mini Clubman estate I had at the time, they're built like tanks. But the steering wheel was in my seat. The front of the car was absolutely smashed in. I got out with whiplash and a bruised knee. The police said they don't know how I survived that, let alone got out with just those injuries. So God has been watching over me all my life, and he continues to. And even now, I have this condition that I was born with, it turns out, which wasn't diagnosed until 6 years ago. And I've been living with that all the time. God has carried me. There have been times when I've said, I can't cope, Lord, I can't do this. Take me home, I can't do this anymore. And I still get days like that. But I know that he's with me. He's carrying me. He is the reason I'm here. And I've had people say to me twice in the past, I've gone forward for prayer for my health. Twice I've been told, you haven't been healed because you haven't got enough faith. You don't believe it, that's why you've not been healed. But I know that God will heal me in his time. I know he can heal me. He could do it right now if that's what he wanted. But he can use me as I am. And I will get my healing when I get my new body, when he calls me home. So, that's me.